today, Christmas has delivered a couple of pieces to us. One of them is the Zeybek Aero-Unit, and I had a really good time doing the unboxing and assembly for Next Wave when they turned up. So we're going to take a look at this today. We'll crack it open, take a look at what's inside, we'll put it together, and then, depending on time permitting, we may do a little bit of Total Warhammer or something like that. I've got a campaign underway I'm looking forward to finishing. Might just be a way to round out the stream. Supermarket Zombies says, really loved putting yours together yesterday. Awesome. This is a Searcast model. Not Searcast, sorry. This is a Unicool model. And frankly, I'm of the opinion that Corvus Belli should probably be advertising that on boxes because it's such a nice material to work with that you could pretty much use it as a selling point. So, let's have a look. Off screen briefly, we've got our coffee, or tea rather today, miniatures, tools, and present on screen is the former Zeybek proxy that I have been using, who will be replaced by this, possibly, once it's assembled. Alright, so pilot is metal, unsurprising. Shouldn't be too difficult. Oh, no, it's a three-parter. Alright, so we've got the dreaded arm gun arm. Could be worse. Looks like there's a slot that the Spitfire will slot into nicely, so that could be okay. We've got a flight stand. I'm probably not going to be using that, but we'll see. I'd like to do something a bit more creative with the base. And then, base and the Zeybek itself. So, all comes in one packet. Unicool. Left and right labeled wings. I appreciate that very much. So, let's take a look. So we've got what looks like the body, a little bit of flash, head, slots on fairly nicely, even with the flash is not getting in the way there. So that's smart. So this is the mold injection point here, and it is completely covered by the cockpit canopy. So that, whoever cut this, clever bit of molding there. We've got slots for the left and right wings. They have chosen to helpfully label the inside as right, but you know what? I also would not trust my audience necessarily, but that slots in very nicely. Does it go in both ways? Not only goes in one way, it goes in really cleanly. Looks gorgeous. On the wings, again, there's a little bit of flashing, but the flashing is only on the spot that will be completely concealed. How are we from mold lines? Not that is really noticeable. Good. So the bulk of the complexity of the assembly appears to come from our weapons. Whatever this is, that's a pose and a half. And whatever these are. Okay, so we've got basically the gubbins. Now this will be the tail. So let's have a look at how the tail goes together. Absolutely dry fit this before we do anything else. Hello from London. Be cool if you did these streams before midnight GMT. I do my best, but certain other things. In fact, we will have a hard stop this afternoon for me, depending on what transpires. But yes, look. My Sunday mornings are about as good as it can get. I would like to have started slightly earlier. Owen says June ornithopter looking ass. Yeah, well. Thank you, Owen. Depending on how many Americans are in chat, this is a true statement. So we've got, yep, that goes on quite nicely. So we've got the tail on the back, and then we need to figure out what all of this stuff is. Bits and pieces. I think there will be something that goes there. So that looks like that slots in there. Oh, yep, cool, that's her legs. So that goes in pretty nicely as well. It's a little bit of red discolor. Now that's weird. There is some red discoloration, which I hesitate. It's not blood, because that would be darker, but it is some kind of weird red discoloration. Okay. So that'll go in like that, and then we're kind of, what have we got? There'll be, looks like, so that then goes in there, which obscures a a lot of that's going to be an interesting paint is getting in there, but that's fine. All right, and then I don't understand yet, so we'll probably have okay, and then it'll be arms, cool, and arms, and then we need to figure out the gun goes on the side. So this is all dry fitting together very nicely. We will clean up a little bit of the flash, but very clean fit so far. As I would expect, it's Unicool. Where do these two bits go? What the heck is this? This looks like it might have something to do with the gun. And I think this is a sensor pod that goes on the front. When are we getting desert power? Good question. Let's have a quick look. So if we look at the box art, so I can see that goes in the nozzle. And this goes on top. Okay, cool. That gives us everything that we need. So let's get out the old hobby knife and clean up just a little bit of the flash. It's the sands of Arrakis. Yeah, so this is probably my favorite. Now, let's see if I can cut myself on stream. One of the things about Unicool, when you are cleaning flashing off Unicool, is that it's a robust material. So you want yourself either, look, frankly, some clippers. I've got a decent pair here. You want either a good pair of clippers or a good sharp hobby knife with some control over it. Yeah, okay, God hand gets through that very nicely. Because if you've got a blunt hobby knife working with this stuff, it's just enough resistance that you run the risk of messing yourself up kind of badly. However, God hand clippers, which were a gift that I subsequently broke almost immediately and regret very badly, but they are nevertheless in good shape. Otherwise, there's just a little bit of a chip off of one of them. Get through that super cleanly. Is that okay? Is that on the end of that? Is that flash or is that something else? Let's just clean. Let's just get a clean cut on it and assume that it is flash. Looks like it is. If it's not, I've just trimmed off a gubbin, but I think we're okay there. So there's a tiny, tiny little bit of flashing on the inside of some of these arm pieces. It's not injection port or injection entry point, but otherwise these look very good. Again, as I would expect, Unicool is pretty comfortably my favorite material that CB uses. And if they put a big, like literally you could put a sticker in the advertising section being like made from Unicool, and I would be more inclined to buy a miniature as a result. I'd also be inclined to pay a little more because working with this material is so nice that I would genuinely, I paid a premium for this damn thing. The Zeybek is not a cheap miniature, but I consider it worthwhile because it's so nice to work with this material. Wish they made it, yeah, so Tanako says, I wish they made it more clear what, that red. I wish they made it more clear what was Unicool and what was Searcast. Yeah, there is such a difference in quality between the two. I understand why they are using both, because they spun up Searcast as a production method and invested in it. And okay, fair enough. But, and it is expensive. My understanding is that it is expensive to do Unicool sculpts. They have to reserve it for things of a certain size, but all right, last quick flash check. There's a little bit that I missed on the nose of the helicopter. That trims down very nicely. I think we're good to start assembly. So this is very quick, which is nice. But yeah, the Zeybek is going to be my universal proxy, not least because it's my favorite aircraft. It's actually my favorite vehicle that isn't a Garud attack bot. Glue goes on. But also I just think it's the best sculpt. Haven't seen the Skyhound yet, obviously, but we'll just put a little more along the sides there to give it some tooth. Alright, let's see how that joins. So that should join pretty comfortably and easily. And that gives us the body together. I think we'll do the wings last because just in terms of, there's no assembly instructions other than that it's all pretty self-explanatory. But I think we'll do the wings last just because those are the biggest pieces, and holding the miniature will be a bit more of an embuggerance with them on. So getting the little, not a rotary blade in place now, and we'll just see how quickly we can get through this. So I hope everyone's had a good Christmas, a New Year, whatever it is that you celebrate, however it is that you celebrate. Mine has been a good time, actually. I'd always have the same thing that happens every year where I get, like, it's the day after Boxing Day, or what will happen always is in the run up to Christmas, I'll be going, oh, thank goodness, a break. Because I do get a little bit of time off of work, which is really nice. Not everyone does, I appreciate. And I'll be sitting there so keen for this rest. And then what will invariably happen is that we will get to the day after Christmas and I'll be like, why am I so tired? What is going on? And the answer to that is always the same, which is that my family has 2 birthdays and Christmas, and then it's Boxing Day, and then New Year's is coming. And so it's actually just the most social time of the year. I'm pretty happy that I was able to get some videos out in that time, actually, and there'll be one probably going up this afternoon if I can get it recorded. Hootie says, recently discovered your channel, really great content, hoping to get into N5 in the next few weeks. Looks so fun and love them. It's such a good game. I've been playing, so Infinity is one of those interesting ones where with every edition things have changed. Putting the legs on now. And there was a certain magic to the earlier editions of the game, where Infinity has gotten, over time, progressively better at being a game. There was a little bit of magic in the old days, where Tanaka Silo says your grandfather passed away last Sunday. Commiserations, mate, that sucks. Infinity is a game that's gotten progressively better at being a game, and in doing so over time, it has become. There was kind of adorable jank about a lot of the early edition. N2 was not. I didn't play N2, but like you hear the stories, and you only have to go and find a copy of N1 and look at the rules to be like, oh, that was wild. But 5th edition Infinity N5 is clean. It plays well. It is very enjoyable. Most of what happens makes sense. Like one of the things that's happened over time with Infinity is that they've gotten better at removing those rules interactions that existed for some reason, like there was some balance thing or simulation thing or something that they wanted in the game, but which as a player wouldn't necessarily be intuitive. And N5 is mostly at a point where it's complicated. It's a complicated game, but it is a clean play once you embrace the chaos of the thing. And that is something I was talking to a friend recently about, the difference between like Infinity and Conquest, which are my 2 main games at the moment. And Conquest is this game where it's like long-term planning, and a decision that you make half an hour ago is going to massively impact the board state in the moment. And so you have to think very long-term. It's the devs have described it accurately as a game of strategic foresight, and it is 100%. And Infinity, those are very useful skills as well, but in Infinity you have to be adaptive. You have to be very adaptive. Ooh, that's going to be a fun join. There we go. So, for anyone who has this, there's a little slot on her like breather mask that's meant to go into. I wonder if I would be better off getting this in place first. I do believe I would. So we'll do that. Because in Infinity, it's this rare game where the presence of like the ARO, it's always your turn, has so many. It's this miracle of game design where it has so many little externalities that hugely impact things about the game. Like one of the videos that I want to do fairly soon is a video talking about defenses in Infinity, and just thinking, okay, we've made a small error there. Let's get some glue on that spot. And I was sitting thinking about, like, how do I script this? What do we, like, how do we approach this as a topic? Okay, so we've got our first not perfect fit. So this piece here, which is the this bit there, the undercarriage, needs to kind of be very gently forced into position because there are multiple connection points and you have to flex it very slightly to get it there. I don't know if that will cause any problems in future, but for now it's in pretty cleanly. But I did need to kind of like snap fit it in, and it did. There's a tiny little bit of flexion. That's interesting. It's a very clean fit now it's in though. Anyway, what I was saying was, because Infinity has this aero mechanic, uh, I was saying like what I'm going to do if I'm going to do a video. Right, one of the point of the video is going to be about defenses in Infinity and thinking about defensive pieces. And I had to stop and be like, okay, well, what other games have this? And it has occurred to me that there are almost, because of the aero mechanic, Infinity is a game where you can have like a significant, oh, this is going to be, there we go, we got it. You can dedicate 30% of your list in Infinity to pieces that are explicitly defensive, and not just like holding the opponent in place, not like an anvil unit, units whose job it is to inflict damage in your opponent's turn. And there probably are games that exist because my scope of experience is not infinite, but I was struggling to think of another game where the idea of taking units to use as defensive tools, in the sense of this is a unit whose primary purpose is to act during your opponent's turn. Like I don't know what other games have that. And it's such a, like, you get so many of those cool things that arise in Infinity that arise in no other game system because of AROs. You get this interesting, complicated, you have to be constantly adapting because this is a game in which, in your turn, catastrophe can arise. But because it's still your turn, you have to because it's still your turn, you have capacity to reorient your game plan and change tack and pursue something different. It's such a fascinating and unique game. Military orders look gorgeous. Would you recommend them as a starting army? I wouldn't have 3 months ago, but today you can. Military orders have been one of the like very difficult factions in Infinity to play for a very long time because they have kind of expensive low-end stuff, and the high-end stuff historically didn't necessarily all the way make up for that. And that's changed because there was a big update in October, and they now have actually quite a lot of interesting tools, and the top end has a bit more payoff. But making that work is still a bit complicated. So if you're interested in military orders, particularly because the models are hot, there are kind of two things that I would recommend. The first is jump onto like the Big Infinity Discord and ask people for some lists and just get some advice on how to play them so that you're not going in blind and so that you're buying kind of the right things. But then secondly and buying the right things is tricky because you want to buy models aesthetically. So tell people when you're like, hey guys, I'm interested in military orders. I'd like to get into this game. These are the models that I'm interested in. What can I build with that? And say, by the way, I'm open to the idea of proxying. I just want to these knights. These models look cool. These models look awesome. I'd like to buy these. What can I write with that? Proxy if you need to, because Infinity is a game in which heavily armed knight with sword can play very reasonably as any of the heavily armed knights with swords in military orders. So I would say they are probably more challenging than some factions. But you can get into the game with them these days, which is something that would not have been true even early in N5. You have access to fairly good gunfighting, a very good quality tactical armored gear, just enough support on the low end. Like theoretically, there is nothing that military orders can't do. Some solid power pieces. So a little bit of caveat emptor and ask for help. But yeah, you could start the game with military orders these days. which again, something that I would not have expected to have said. I'm just sopping up some super glue because one thing that Unicool does tend to do, because it's a very smooth finish, is that it will show glue marks. So you've got the first rotor blade on. In terms of assembly so far, these arm pieces were probably the most complicated, but they're in and it's totally fine. Amorfin Santiago says, plastic, isn't it? How do you feel about their plastics since you've got one in your hands? So this material, so there's two plastics that Corvus Belli do. One of them is called Cyocast, and it sucks. And they use that for a few pieces, not many pieces in the range these days because of them, like how poorly received the material has been. But you'll find, I think you'll still find a few Warcrow pieces, like the smaller ones, because it's easy. The thing about Cyocast is that it's relatively easy for them to spin up a mold. But so you can use it for like smaller production runs, or you can use it for smaller pieces, infantry. I don't know specifically what goes into building a mold for one of these, but I assume it's closer to the kind of cost that you have for stuff like injected thermoplastic. This is not injected thermoplastic. That's like Games Workshop Conquest plastics. There's a lot of like differences around it, but this is Unicool. This is the best material I've ever worked with for any miniature. It holds detail incredibly well. It is incredibly crisp. It is fairly easy to work with. If you've got a good pair of clippers, they will cut through flash very easily, and there is virtually no flashing apart from the injection mold points, which they conceal well. So in terms of Corvus Belli miniatures that I've assembled that use this, the Juggernaut, Next Wave Juggernaut, and most of their tags these days, the new ones, are made from this, and it's the best miniatures material I've ever worked with. I mentioned this earlier in the stream, but genuinely, they should advertise on boxes that it's made from this because this stuff is the best. Alrighty. Now I think we're going to make a tactical decision. This gun flexes. Got a fair bit of lee. And because of that, I'm not going to glue this in just yet. We will grab a piece of tactically present blue tack, which I keep always on my desk for this purpose and many other purposes. And for now, we're just going to blue tack that in, because what that will let me do is when I've got this thing, when I actually figure out how I'm going to base this thing, that's hideous, I used far too much of that. When I actually figure out how to base this thing, it'll let me angle the gun. Now I think this is a shotgun armed one, but it will almost never be played as, no, it's just, what weapons does a Zeybek even come with? I mean, I've only ever used it with a Spitfire. It comes with a Spitfire, right? What gun is that? Doesn't matter. Maybe it's a smoke grenade launcher and it's a smoke grenade launcher and Spitfire. There we go. That's what the big thing is. Not 100% sure why a weapon like this has to have a stock. This is vehicle mounted, and it doesn't look like the pilot pulls it off of the tag, pulls it off of the vehicle rather when she's done. So I don't know why it has a stock other than possibly just to visually communicate gun. But there you go. All right, time to get the wings in. This should be pretty easy. These are good fits. Don't even need too much glue here. So left wing goes in. Ajax is Ajax, yeah. So Lim says Ajax is Cyocast and his hammer broke so many times. Cyocast is more, it's more flexible, but it's bendy. I don't think I've ever seen a Cyocast sword that wasn't wibbly wobbly in some respect. And it does not hold detail as well. It is a softer material. I fully understand from a business perspective needing to move away from metals, prices of tin, etc. Like you've got to keep the game as affordable as possible. They're not a massive company. Their profit margins aren't colossal. But Cyocast wasn't it, unfortunately. And I think they recognize that. Like they tried it out. They've made a bit of an investment. It hasn't paid off, but Unicool has. And there we have a Zeybek Aero-Unit. It's a little stubbier, I think. I think if I was going to personally make any, like, what would be nice, this could be a longer tail, because if you look at it in profile, it's just a touch short. However, for the realities of the game, it is already overhanging its base. You look at that in silhouette. So fair cop, I guess. I don't think there's any reasonable way that I could possibly extend that without some very rough work. So we're not going to. But the main thing is that it carries, got like the silhouette, just the ornithopter wings are just the best. Now we're gonna have to figure out how to base this. I don't really want to use the flight stand. Never been a massive flight stand fan. And in this particular case, if we put it on the flight stand, it's probably correctly silhouetted. Like this is pretty close to, actually it's maybe if we pull this light in, it's actually a little low to the ground. I think what I want, because actually if we have him in frame there, he is silhouette 7. Silhouette 7 along the top of the bike. I think I want this positioned in a way where there'll have to be probably something like this, and this is going to be very difficult to see in terms of this angle, where I think I want the top of the chassis to be silhouette 7 height. So I can say to my opponents, ignore the wings, don't sweat the wings. Look for the top of the chassis, and that's a solid enough height. I don't think we could do. It's very tempting. It's very tempting to do it very high off the ground and be like, yeah. I need you to see the undercarriage of the vehicle. If you can see the bottom of the vehicle, that's silhouette 7. But that is a little bit of a troll. This thing is never going to fit in any army case that I own, so we could have it really high up. But I'm from a playability perspective, yeah, it's going to have to be about that tall. So what I'll need to figure out is kind of like a basing mechanism that ideally conceals this. And Supermarket Zombie says, yeah, black flight stand looks better than clear. Yes. This will be undercoated black if I use it. And I might, because it does slot very easily into there. You could do a little bit of smoke around it so that it looks like an exhaust, but then it'll look like it's sputtering out black smoke or something, so I'm not super inclined to do that. This kind of vehicle looks like it should fly clean. It's a Hack Islam aircraft. So we'll figure that out. I don't think orienting it so that it's facing upwards will work, even though this is a very clean top of the silhouette. Yeah, so something like this. So that's done for now. That was a very quick assembly. We do, however, have to get to the pilot. So overall, very nice kit. Very happy with that. That will paint up very nicely. I'm going to do that in the same blue as his, or same grey-green as his motorcycle. We might get a little bit of orange splashed onto the pilot, and then it'll be a bit of a question as to whether or not we do anything. So this will probably like a metal grey front canopy, but we might do some glowing blue lights or something. Model holds detail very nicely. I'm not remotely concerned about these. I mean, look, I can break anything. I have this terrible habit of passing my hand through space that miniatures occupy when I'm talking at a table. But these have got just enough flex and just enough strength that even I should not be able to break these wings. So that's good. Not gonna push it, but yeah. I think in terms of critiques, the way that this gun is hanging off the side, I think this could be a tighter in silhouette. I also don't 100% know if we even really need that. Like you could just not have a gun on this thing, and I don't think it would hurt the silhouette at all. I'll probably give that some consideration actually. Like, what do we think? Do we think that it needs the gun on the side? Or if we just remove that and plug that hole with green stuff? Because on the other side, there's a commensurate little gubbin thing. It's almost a cleaner silhouette if it doesn't have a weapon visibly on it. I think I'll give that some consideration as well. So happy with not having put this in yet. I don't know if it necessarily adds anything to the model silhouette. I don't think there's anywhere else that I would seriously consider attaching it. And I think you can just be like, no, it's got weapons that pop out and fire when it's in a firing range. Pops smoke, etc. So that's cool. I like that a lot. Just pop that over here for now. And let's have a look at the pilot. Matt Bissell says basing could be a sandworm coming up out of the ground to make the worm silhouette 7. Does anyone have one of the tag raid monsters? I do. Like they could only ever have done this as an ornithopter. Like it's yes, it's playing it's a very obvious homage, but like what else could it ever have been? Mr. Pink Panzer says, "What a cool model! I'm personally so hyped for the K2s, and I don't even play ALF." Oh, those are nice sculpts. Yes. Now, note to self: do not use these on metal. For anyone who doesn't have them, these are the best clippers that exist for plastic. They have limitations, however. They are fragile. You have to only use them under very specific circumstances, i.e. plastic that they can get around. Alright, so I have a wing and a prayer for this miniature, which is that this little nook here rests the Spitfire very cleanly, which makes the two-part join of this arm not too difficult. K2s in Aleph. God, talk about a model that has attracted unintentional drama, which is to say tier lists. Everyone loves tier lists. Someone did, I don't remember who, some podcast, bless them, did a tier list where they ranked the K2 Auxilia as the worst heavy infantry in the game. And that's like, what? Now, I'm going to give them some slack because I haven't watched that. I don't have much time to watch Infinity or even Wargaming. I don't watch terribly much Wargaming content. Only so much time. I prefer to, frankly, I prefer to watch content that I have less firm opinions about. So I watch things like, like gaming streams and Total Warhammer streams and etc. And then randomly like geopolitics bloody YouTubers. But so I have not. There may be some context that I am missing in the decision of that podcast to rank the K2 Auxilia as the worst heavy infantry in the game. But like, that's mad. Like, what is the? They must either they don't understand the profile, which is possible. Lord knows that there are no requirements to doing a tier list, or they're trolling, or they have some kind of like the criteria that they begin with made it quite clear that like no, we're only interested in ability to gunfight or something. Okay, so we've cleaned her up. There is a mold line across the helmet, kind of unavoidably. So we just get the file out. You spend enough time working with plastic and you forget that it's nice to be able to really, really specifically control and remove. Like, this is one of the nice things about metal, is a little more difficult to convert sometimes. It's a little heavier, which means that it chips or more likely to chip if it falls. But there is no other material that you can so precisely remove material from as needed. I'll take Cyocast over it, but it's metal for me is pretty neck and neck with injected thermoplastic. And then Cyocast tragically is, well, it's better than Finecast. Anyone in the audience around when? Anyone in the audience around for Finecast? Remember that? Remember, God, that was the worst of all worlds. Okay. This is not a peg. I am meant to just cut this cleanly. There. God, I hope that's right. Pretty sure it is. Do we have any bits of flash on that? No, I think we're fine. Okay. But we will get that filed down, because this is going to need to be a nice flush join. Did they forget the Minuteman exists? No, I don't actually think there's a bad heavy. I don't think there's a truly bad heavy infantry in US Ariadna. Like particularly if you take the best of them, the Minutemen can roll 6 dice in active turn and 3 dice in reactive. I think, right? Like it's a +1 special die. HMG. I'd have to look that up. I played against a Minuteman yesterday, and I do not remember this. But okay, all right. So yeah, good news. This does rest neatly. The gun rests neatly in that join. Not perfectly. I might need to trim that down a bit more, so I get the file back out. But hopefully we can get a nice flush join there, and then I'll just make the other gun from this little gremlin here has to go from the shoulder to the wrist, and the contrabandolero, which is sitting a couple of meters away from me, which I will not reach for, did the same thing but without the benefit of a nice clean join, and I hated assembling that miniature for all the reasons that anyone who's ever assembled a Nis Hunter or a Steelhead from War Machine will remember. Okay, I think we should be good there. I remember paying $75 for a Krokgar and his Carnosaur, and there was a good gap in the Carnosaur. I had to green guard. Yeah, Finecast. I think the worst Finecast, like Finecast was that peak era of Games Workshop taking the absolute piss. It was that peak of we're a miniatures company, not a rules company, and our customers, for some reason, they just made this weird assumption that their customers were completely beholden to them, and as a result, they almost lost what is functionally a borderline monopoly. Recovered, probably for the benefit of the miniatures wargaming industry overall, probably. But there was that brief moment where the canopy parted and a little bit of air and sunlight reached the floor and allowed a few other companies to suddenly exist. But I think the worst Finecast I remember was like, wasn't there? This was in Australian dollars, but wasn't there like $100 Sauron Lord of the Rings miniature or something? Like it was the probably the worst piss take Games Workshop has ever done in terms of like you are actually mad with that. Whoop, okay. One more little bit of glue on this poor cutting board. Amorfin Santiago says, it's one wound and not shock immune, which is a big hurdle if your criteria is durability for heavy infantry. I mean, look, if you were to do a heavy infantry tier list and you were to exclude one wound heavy infantry on the basis that they're not fun, they're heavy infantry in name only, there's nothing wrong with that. Are we gluing? I'm just gonna have to give that a moment. Like, that's fine. I'm not sure how I would do a heavy infantry tier list. Like, how do you... Because I tend to assess things based on, like, amorphous, like, how well this contributes to a game plan. And so, something like a K2 Auxilia is very high up the list for me, because it's so easy to get good value out of it every single turn, but it's not offensive. It's a fundamentally defensive and zone control space. So, like, I don't mind Minutemen at all, because a Minuteman is not colossally... In fact, look, we're going to get an army out. Give me a moment. Minutemen profiles. Why did I click on Yuching? Ariadna. US Ariadna Ranger Force. Heavy Infantry. Minutemen. BS attack +1 special die. AP Heavy Machine Gun. And then a bunch of crap. This is, yeah. So a Minuteman is, in almost all respects, a glorified medium infantryman. But it rolls 3 dice in ARO, 6 dice in active turn, and you can theoretically recover it, maybe. it's got... Medkit Phys equals 15 is the most, like... You're never happy to... Like, that's just not something that, like, oh boy, this is what will save me. But it rolls enough dice, and US Ariadna broadly can support pieces that are 34 points. They do tend to run into... oops, too many irregulars, but... Okay. Doesn't fit as well as I'd like it to. Come on, arm. I trusted you. We'll have to just bring down this wrist a little. Blood Knights and Vampire Counts being $100 at the time, and I assume that was USD, which was just a certified trade. Yeah, like, God, Finecast was a time. No regrets about saying farewell to that, but these days, I mean, particularly if you're a 40k player in Australia, you need young money, or for it to be... I mean, I guess it's still a cheaper hobby than golf. But my goodness. compared to, I mean, I know that Infinity is one of those, like, you only need 15 models, lied the person trying to get you into the game. But even this was, I think the cheapest I could get this in Australia was 88 Australian dollars, which, not cheap. Worthwhile. Honestly, I would say probably is a little too expensive. I was willing to pay that only because I knew it was a Seacast model. Sorry, I'm going to keep saying that. Only because I knew that it was a Unicool model, and because the construction experience I knew was going to be fun enough to stream, frankly. Okay, can we get this in there now? So what I've done is I've just filed a little bit off of the wrist just to try and get this join a bit better. Still not great. Do we have any flash there? No. No. Alright, a bit more. I'm terrified of taking too much off, but I'm not even 100% sure if I'm going to paint this model, to be honest. Theoretically, I should, but I don't know what else I would. I tend to prefer to paint models when I know that I can use them for multiple things. Like, I can use this as the model it's meant to be, Tank Hunter. In fact, okay, look, I can't use her as just about anything else, if I'm honest. There's not many things I can use a Tank Hunter for. But that's a really cool model, and I wanted to paint it. This is a really cool model, and I'll want to paint it. This is Person with Spitfire. I do not use, and I've got, I guess it can be a HMG armed, it could be a Minuteman, HMG armed model or something at some point. But nominally, I do need her. What other model would I use? No, because the thing I've got like plenty of models I can just use as the pilot. So we'll get her assembled, but unless I'm feeling particularly inspired, because this is a fine model. It's okay. It's very okay. It's got a cool little visor. Like if you were like a Druze player or something, this would actually probably mold line fit very nicely. Like it almost looks like a brawler if you are hurting yourself and playing brawlers. The detail is good. It will paint well. I like the plates on the thighs, just offering a bit of. It'll be like there's the painted infinity butt. It'll paint up nicely, but I just don't know if I'll get to it particularly quickly because the star of the show is, of course, the Zeybek. Alright, let's try this one more time. Get this dry fit. Okay, so... Oh, hang on, is there flash around? There is. There is a little bit of flashing around here. That, I'm not sure. So just in this join, there's a tiny little bit of flashing that is making the fit more difficult. I'm going to have to take that one off of camera, because this is going to need a hobby knife. And we may not even get it completely clear. That is where some of the issue will have come from. These days, I am hobbying with glasses. That is a development of the last 3 or 4 months. I am enjoying not having headaches. That's certainly a thing. But it means I've got to look up a little bit more closely. You can ironically use it as a Moyib if you didn't get the Assassins, the Assassins pack. It may shock you. Oh, there we go. Okay, yeah, I needed to remove that flash. Now that's a relative. In fact, I may almost have taken too much off of the wrist, but we'll do. Alright, this is the bit where I glue my fingers to myself. But let's give it a crack. And now... yep. I was going to say, it's a very nice fit, and it is. I just need to not glue myself to the model. So, as far as the dreaded wrist to shoulder join goes, that's probably one of the better ones that I've done. Still don't love it. And in fact, I'm having to kind of just... No! Yep, there we go. Come on, glue. Please hold. Okay, Are we good? Are we good? Is it in place? Is it in yet? Just use the fingernail to try and get that. So this is going to be a little bit of a bastard. But in terms of the workflow, at least it has the courtesy to do what I hoped it would do, which is that the Spitfire locks into the model and can glue in place, and then you have two static points that you're trying to get this arm to connect to, which is significantly improved from the Contrabandolero that's over on the other shelf, because the Contrabandolero did not have, it was two arms, two shoulder joins that were just shoulder joins that then connected to, one of them connected to a gun. And it is better than two distinct arms trying to separately connect to a halberd or bow, but that was a bit of a prick. This one, not too bad. And I think we are together. So have a quick look at flashing. Oh, yep, Mr. Big Old Bit hanging over the top there. Clippers out for that. Then there's one last thing, apart from gluing on the base, that I generally like to do for metal miniatures, which is to get the wire brush out. Now, we might leave that in this particular case, because I don't know when I'm going to get to undercoating this. But let's get onto her base to start with. We can actually do that. If you're assembling Corvus Belli metals, I don't know how many other companies do metals on the market these days. But if you're assembling metals, as the last step before undercoating, something that I recommend is just grab like a $2 wire brush from your local hardware store. Like if you're in Australia or whatever, if you've got access to a Bunnings, you can get them at Bunnings for like nothing, because they're basically a consumable. Just get her actually facing the direction of the base, it'll do. And I will grab one actually to show you. So these come in a pack of 3, usually 1 nylon, 1 brass, 1 steel. And because metal oxidizes, plastic doesn't. You might want to wash this before you undercoat it. Metal oxidizes. Now this model's in pretty good nick, but it's still, if I give that a wire brush, just like over the raised surfaces, it immediately becomes shinier. And that's because what's happening is that just a very gentle surface patina of oxidization that has occurred since it's been in the packet has been removed. And in addition, you're also just adding a little bit of tooth to the, without really affecting the surface finish, you're adding a tiny little bit of tooth. What that means is that the undercoat is going to bond to metal rather than bonding to patina, which means that it will chip less. And then if you add a decent varnish on top of that, Infinity miniatures for me almost never chip. The only miniature I've got that like consistently chips is the Magari Bagard. And the reason for that is that she weighs 400 kilos. And so sheer momentum, when she knocks into something, because I go, oh, and she bangs into something, momentum is enough. It breaks the bloody, breaks like any protection you can put on it. But strong recommend, before you go to undercoat, because there's no point, like if I was to give her a big wire brush down now and then leave her on the shelf for a month, pointless. But before you go to undercoat, wire brush, and then because there'll be some detritus and some hand oil because you've been holding the thing, a little wash in soap, let it dry, then undercoat. It's one of those little steps that isn't essential, but it's just quality of life. It's one of those ones where I've actually got some very good mates who are very good painters, and they don't do that, and they don't varnish their miniatures. And it causes me physical pain because there are gorgeously painted, like Ariadna, that I sit there looking at going like, well, it's also chipped to hell, and it turns out that green camo fatigues do not look good with little bits of metal showing through them. Ah. Nurakan Zero says, need to bring back the Mayacast Schreiber scale to convey if fine is I'd buy it because it's an army I play, or fine is I will buy it and paint this begrudgingly because it is an army I play. Fine as in, I don't think I fully understand, but it's Mayacast, that takes me back. That's a very long time. Okay, so that's 2 different things assembled. I think that's just about all of the hobby that we have to get done today. So what we'll do, I do have a hard stop a little later, but to my knowledge, that hard stop has not yet arisen. So, just as a little bit of a change of pace, while I'm just tearing some stuff down, we might do a tiny little bit of video gaming. So, let's see if I can make this work. For now, we'll leave that there. This is going to be a little bit of a, we're doing it live, so we will have to see. But for now, we'll just leave these guys in frame. Overall, very happy with that. Modestly happy with that. Have to make sure I don't lose that. Where's the blue tack? And we'll take it from there. Hearing your friend not varnishing their metal models. Yeah, I am internally, I'm the Kendrick Lamar scream. It's just, I treasure this individual, but by God, Chris, please varnish your models. Even the ones that you've done awesome resin work on, like just mask that. It's fine. You're allowed. So for now, as a failsafe, because I don't want to lose this, ton. But yeah, questions and so comments actually. Does the gun genuinely, like in terms of the silhouette of the thing, do we want the gun? Or is it better without? I am increasingly leaning toward it looks better without the weapon. I think it's just a cleaner silhouette. So, yep, that might be a thing. But for now, because I don't want to lose this, blurp. And we can do the same with the... Let's also just not lose the flight stand. Cool, there we go. Oh, alright, that was some good hobby. Get back in frame, you. So what we'll do from here is we will play a little bit of Total War. I'll get myself the tea that has gone cold. And we'll just crack on for maybe half an hour, and then I will go and see how the other half is doing, because he has injured himself recently, and I need to make sure that he's all good. Super Mega Zombie says, I varnish everything. Metal, plastic doesn't matter, varnish. Just do it. There are multiple reasons why it is a good idea to varnish. It protects your miniatures. Okay. Right, well, let's welcome to Total War, everyone. Let's pop the audio on. Let me know how the sound is going there. What we want now, we want desktop audio. There we go. This is a long way through a campaign that I'm actually trying to finish. And... hell. Okay. Alright. Not sure we can win this one, lads. Now, a loss is not the end of the world. This is... we're playing as Wissenland and Null. And we've obviously got some Dwarven allies. However... I think Ludwig Ulriker here has overextended slightly. This is playing on very hard, very hard. We will be playing battles a little bit slowed down because the risks won't handle full-on sweaty micro. Let's just... If I retreat, I'm not going to get away. This is a huge issue. But Ultimate Crisis mode. So every Chaos and Destruction faction is enabled for Ultimate Crisis. If people haven't played Total Warhammer, that means that at some point during the game, in this case it triggered when I finally occupied all Empire territories, it starts a countdown timer, and then all of the Chaos factions just get, like, colossal, huge armies spawned in. Okay. I do not think I can beat 3 stacks of veteran recruitment bonus, weaponed out the gills, clan Skyer with a nuke. But we can always raise another army if we have to. Most of the armies that I'm running look something like this, because all of these, anything with a gun in this picture is juiced, and then just dwarf infantry as a front line. Okay. I think we set up something like this, because that gives us the best shot. We can't corner camp because they've got guns. And the really big issue is that they've also got a nuke, because because Clan Skyer. Clan Skyer. Which means that we probably need to have these spread out a little bit as well. I am going to have to play this in slow-mo for like the first 49 seconds, waiting to see where that nuke is going to land. But Sigma are willing. If you've never played Total War, by the way, this is absolutely wonderful. And in addition to being absolutely wonderful as a game, there are many things that the game allows you to do. And there are a few mods that we're running. We're running with some mods called Singe's Skills, which just gives our Lord some extra skill options, because there's some pretty heavy RPG elements. But one of the nice things about having Dwarven allies is that guns use pretty true line of sight. And so if you're a Total Warhammer player and you've never done this, you will observe that dwarves are short and men are somewhat taller. Which means these guns can fire over the heads of their dwarven allies, which is one of the most fun things you can do in this game, just in terms of like, oh yeah, the system allows that. Now, we are still going to have such a rough house time, because the nuke is going to land, and I'm going to have to dodge it. And then everyone is going to die, and look, frankly, even beyond that, we're going to have issues with Skyer artillery, but I think our goal here is just to do as much damage as possible. So we'll see how it goes. Maybe we go two aside, 2 iron sides, 1 iron side. And then they'll just get into position. Engineer, you can hang out with the artillery. And I don't know why I'm led by a warrior priest here, but we are. And then the light wizard. The light wizard is important because he's got a net. Alright. Okay. So we'll have shots on them first. Fire wizard. Time for cheese. Other mods that I have installed, by the by, better camera mod, which is very valuable. Okay, stop trying to annihilate. And then there are 2 gameplay mods that I've got installed. The first is one called Take the Shot, which reduces the hitbox that units have for the purposes of shot calculations, where to avoid friendly fire, usually in the base game, line infantry with guns will just be really cautious about not shooting their allies, and this reduces the hitbox calculation down to the true size of the model, so it's a little easier to shoot with gun infantry. And then the other one is one that just changes the fire arc on Hellstorms to be about the same as the Cathayan rockets, because otherwise Hellstorms will just friendly fire you remorselessly. Alright. So, because things dodge like absolute bastards. Alright. We will direct our rocket fire at models that cannot dodge terribly effectively, which means counter-battery fire in the first instance. Let's see if I can't draw some firepower. Now, again, as noted, the expectation is not that we win here. We might, but I'm not expecting it. But we should be able to do some damage. Let's see if these guys want to fire. You wanna shoot the wizard? Not yet. What are you doing? What are you shooting? God, your range is too long. Stop that. Rip. Okay, there's the nuke. Okay, go. Get out of there, go, move. And that was the thing that we had to dodge. Now, these iron sides will not be able to get completely clear, which means they're probably dead, but cost of doing business. Sorry, lads. Alright, counter battery fire is go. And anyone who hasn't ever seen, we're about to... I think I might have caught this just in time. Nope. Nah. Rip. Cool. Yep. That sucks. Alright, we're going to pull you back. Your part in this battle is done. Actually, don't walk into the explosion for now. Okay, Warplock Jezzails are causing me a fucking grief, so let's do something about that.
Yes, quickly! Faster! Go!
Alright, we've broken one of the rocket batteries. That's good. Let's target onto these Warplock Jezzails. Keep firing at that one. Now these are, like, again, this is very hard, but with no stat adjustments. But you don't need, like, their enemies have got such large armies. Okay. Alright, the Warp Lightning Cannons are also firing. Let's dodge that. Now, fortunately, all of my stuff is juiced to the absolute gills, so you guys just get out of there. Fall back out of range. Fall back out of range. Shoot that mutant rat ogre. I've got all of the upgrades that I can conceivably get. Oh, rattling guns. Did we dodge that? Yeah, it wasn't too bad. Now, what we might try and do is as soon as Ikit comes into range, we might try a net on him. Alright, first cannon is compromised, second cannon is compromised. The big issue, of course, is that those reinforcements are going to arrive very soon. Oh god. Why does Skyraya have so many guns? Pull back out of range, so we're just really playing this as a... And we'll probably just play this battle, and then I'll check the time, and then we'll wander off. Alright. Alright, wizard. Let's see if we can kill like a claw. You can go and fight stuff. Oh, yep. Skaven has got as many artillery pieces as we do. Okay, so good news is that both of these are now offline. That's excellent. So now we need to focus on the mortars, the Jezzails, and fuck it, probably these warp fire throwers before they get too close. Okay, so we've got Ikit in a net. That's a really big deal because this is very hard. Enemies dodge like remorselessly. Oh, this is grim. Sell your lives dearly, man. But I think we got the bastard. We did. So that's a big deal because that's their primary spellcaster. Pull you back to there. Shoot the rat ogres. Shoot the sensor bearers. Get back. You guys can just fire at whatever. You pull back. You pull back. Now we're short on Wings of Magic.
Moving out.
But
Taking position. To battle. Quick.
we've only got so much counter battery fire is one of the big issues that we have. Like, we do not have firepower superiority here. Alright, enemy reinforcements approaching. And this is going to be rough as well. Poison Wind Mortars, Jezzails, another spellcaster. Fire on the Jezzails. You guys keep firing over here. Yep, I want you on the Poison Wind Mortars. I want you on the Warplock Jezzails. And what we might do is get the Fire Wizard in this direction. Now, they are coming into our guns. The dwarves are selling their lives incredibly dearly. But so many enemy reinforcements are going to be turning up here. Okay, shoot the Storm Vermin. what we will probably end up doing is we've got some Dwarven allies that are arriving. Much good may it do us. Do I just send the warrior priest out to die? I don't think so. Fantasy wargames, everyone. Alright. Fire Wizard is heading in this direction. Like, we've got good missile block. These guys have got silver shields. But there's just so much. Alright, you pull back. You pull back. Yes. Rattling. So, now we've got to deal with this thing. Maybe easier said than done. I don't suppose the dwarves have brought anything that will save my ass. We'll see. Okay. Up the pipe. That will help. Knew I left dealing with this too late. Alright, all of you just try and shoot that. How's the counter battery going? It's getting there. Slowly. These guys are dodging a bunch. Just keep shooting. Change fire onto that. Change fire onto that. I think we need to just deal with the rattling guns now. They're too close not to. Oh! Wizard. Sorry, matey. Lost track of... Well, you're probably dead. Okay, engineer. Put shots into that. You go into that. Now we should be... Did the wizard die? Well, he broke. Maybe he's okay. Alright, we actually need to push forward with these guys a bit because we're not in range. That did not do as much damage as I would have liked, because those things are actually relatively heavily armored. Well, the good news is that we've mostly dealt with that. The rat thing. God, our poor, poor. Do I push the dwarves forward? I don't think so. I don't think it does anything. Yeah, we're not getting through 3 armies of this. But we will sell our lives as dearly as we possibly can. I wonder if we try and stage a retreat. Probably not. You're not contributing any more to this battle. You've probably got to get back as well. So we're engaging them in a ranged duel now. No, they're going to have to shoot the Doom players. Alright. Kill that, please. Like, the damage the guns do is genuinely very good. It's just... I'm playing against Clan Skyer here. And there are limits. Alright, we're going to have to change fire again. Where are the artillery pieces? Plague Claw catapults. Just fire something like that. Maybe a small miracle will occur and the dwarves will be absolute ballers. Okay, so good news at least is that some of the counter battery fire is doing excellent work. You know what? Run over there. Kill them. Uh-oh. You know what? Can't dodge that. Nothing we can do about that. Where is the... What are you, Grey? You're a Grey Seer of Plague. Ah! There's a Warp Block Engineer back there. No, I'm pretty sure I saw... something over there. That's alright. Alright, you shoot them. You keep shooting them. Engineer is juiced. Okay, so... all guns... Turn fire on the advancing Skaven positions over here. We need to, if possible, deal with probably the Jezzails in the short term. Let's just fire another burning head up the pipe. You're going to need to close with them. You're going to need to close with them. There's a possibility for a small miracle to occur where our guns are genuinely very good. Like, we might be able to orient this into a position where we don't die. I don't think so. I don't think our Dwarven allies can carry this. We just need to do as much damage as possible. Aha! There we go. That was the issue. We'll restore ammunition, just because it might accomplish something. Oh. Yeah, that warp lightning, not good. Okay, so we're putting down... Like, anything we shoot, we're doing tremendous damage to. Longbeards are fleeing, and I don't blame them. The Light Wizard fled off the field, that's fine. You just shut them down. There are 10 mortars over there, that's okay. You fire on them. You close around this direction. You guys shoot the Grey Seer. I think that's a possible path. Now, yeah, the gun line is going to be compromised tragically soon. This is not going to do it. We had to be in the position that we were in. Fire everything. Oh, also a visual mod for better gunfire. Like, we do so much damage, and it's not enough. Okay, well, that's something. Yeah, just pop all of those buffs. Alright, what are we shooting at? We're shooting at Jezzails. We're shooting at more Jezzails. We're shooting at the Plague Claw catapults. And there's an entire other army. Well, you shoot at them. You shoot at him. You fire. Fire. Keep going after that. You go after them. You go after them. Dwarves, if you could do like anything, you'd be such such a pal if you guys could just move your stumpy dwarven legs. The Hellstorms are still firing, which is good. I have Gelt Confederated in addition to all of the Amethyst Armory crap, so the Hellstorms are insane. Like, they're insane to the point that I can use them as counter battery. Ratman under the city? They're just beastmen with a different appearance, simple peasant. Yeah, keep firing. I think the time has come... What the hell are those? Plague Monks and Severus. Alright, the dwarves are shooting. You know what, you guys, you retreat. There's 3 of you left. You keep shooting there. You go that direction now. So, Ironsides are wonderful regiments. There are, however, limits. You shoot there. You shoot into the Storm Vermin Halberds. Longbeards. Oh, okay. Okay. Cool. Cool and normal. Thank you. Thanks. Did that help? Is that good? I didn't even know if that was helpful. Everyone is breaking. We might... Do we get... Is there... Firestorm there. Is there a Mercurial shot anywhere? Yeah, just put it into them. Oh, we have sold our lives. We have sold our lives at such a cost. Plague Claw catapults are done. Cool. Fire on the Poison Wind. Globadiers. Poison Wind mortars. Rattling guns. Oh god. Back online. Who's firing? Keep shooting. Shoot at the Rattling guns. Shoot at the Rattling guns. Shoot at the warp fire throwers. You guys can retreat just on the off chance that you live. Whereabouts are you, dwarves? Yeah, okay, you can get out of there. That looks pretty good. Is there a lord anywhere around here that I can go after? No, not reasonably. Oh, we're copping it. Okay, so the artillery is beginning to get subject to counter battery. So just shoot the Rattling guns. What are you even doing? You're chasing down a shattered Jezzail team regiment. Go over here. Why did I hire anyone but a master engineer? Okay. I mean, we're making it happen. God, they're doing their best. There's a lot of guns that are firing. Dwarf Lord just full carry mode, I guess. Alright, one Hellstorm is down. Didn't stop the Rattlings in time. We're doing it now, but how many more reinforcements do they have? Is this impossible? I don't think so. It's just very difficult. I think you need to just come over here. You lads can retreat. Keep moving forward. Keep moving forward. The bombardment has done an awful lot. Warp lightning cannons, take them out, please. The problem is anytime any of our units get caught under bombardment themselves, the cost is just massive. I guess go and deal with those warp fire throwers briefly. And like this fight here, like 9 of these guys are not going to beat those 10 warplock Jezzails. In fact, they're going to die. You can just retreat. Alright, we're fighting. Drop a soulfire, please. It'll do nothing, but you compromise the poisoned wind mortars. You deal with the warp fire throwers. And having shorter range guns is just, that's the prick of the thing. But we just have to move these forward. What are we dealing with? We are dealing with quite a lot of crap. Just fire into the middle of the formation for now. No, take out the artillery. Alright, engineer, it's time to leave this position and get shooting. Fire into that, please. Fire into that, please. Fire into them, please. Stay away from the storm vermin. Alright, we've broken one of those... Oh my god! Oh my fucking god! That's the army loss penalty. Get shit on, nerds. This is the highest casualty battle that I have played. By a huge margin. And that's the GG. Yeah, no, Skaven, that's a lot of weapons teams. Just jumping in, is this a Nuln campaign? Yes, this is Very Hard, Ultimate Crisis. Not Legendary, I don't quite have that in me. Mostly because in Legendary you can't slow down. So you see I'm playing this in slow, it's because my wrists are just physically not up to anything more than that. Alright. Give them some pain. Now we need to do a lot of this is not... We have to do as much damage as we can, because not only have we taken a lot of losses, but they will regroup. And they will come at us again. So we don't have any light cavalry, we can't shoot them down. So we can't ride them down, but we can do as much as we can. So we're just going to take out as much as we can on the flea. We'll actually turn up the speed a bit. So what are we just dealing with? Some night runners, yeah. Any casualties at all make the future pain much easier to deal with. Did I target that correctly? No, missed it. Any other easy kills that we can get? Something like that. Yeah, because literally everything. Any extra shots, any extra kills. Okay, I think that's probably all we're reasonably going to get. End battle. So Nuln is... They're all, I think, honestly... Oh, let's have a look at this. So it looks like no one got wiped out, which is really useful, because it means that we can replenish casualties. Even the Hellstorms didn't die. 300 kills, 400 kills. I have had much higher kill casualties in this kill counts in this campaign, but this army is all weapons teams. So yeah, very hard, Ultimate Crisis, Chaos and Destruction factions only, and we triggered Ultimate Crisis very early in the campaign when I got all of the Empire. That was apparently the condition. I think that triggered Short Victory, which triggered Ultimate Crisis. And so the modus operandi for dealing with Ultimate Crisis is because this is a known campaign, we can spin up... These guys can be recruited like Regiments of Renown. So you can just windmill slam 5 fully upgraded, high veterancy Amethyst regiments into an army to try and hold off like a flashpoint. And that has mostly worked. And I left... The Tomb Kings are the biggest remaining issue, and the Skaven. And so we're at the point now where we're actually... We have Ultimate Campaign Victory in reach. And to trigger that, what I actually need is to not... The only victory condition now is that so everyone in the world is either allied with me or a Crisis faction, or Chaos. All I need now is to not be at war. That's literally the last victory condition for the, like, final campaign win. Oh man. Okay, lads. Your sacrifices will be remembered. That's an awful lot of schematics. We are going to replenish army because they... you pricks. Okay. Good old Skaven ambush. We're going to have to fight this manually. Let's see what happens. All I have to do now is not be at war. You can never make peace. Diplomacy is not enabled with Ultimate Crisis factions. So the Tomb Kings in particular, once we're through this, what we will probably see is Sudetenberg has been confederated. So Volkmar has been confederated. And ambush is rough for a rage army. The enemy is all ranged as well. I think the biggest issue is that I'm going to... Those Hellstorms are not going to be long for this world. And replacing them actually is not the end of the world, it just takes time. I can replace most of this army, weirdly. Like, this army can actually be replaced in pretty short order. Money is the biggest issue. I have spent a lot. Alright. Alright. Let's take a look. What are we looking at? Yep, everyone is in range. That's a Doomflayer. Just shoot whatever you can. Just fire, fire, fire. Oh, a Hell Pip. And Red Ogres. So, step 1. Net. You get over here. You get over here. You run for the guns. You shoot that bastard. And dwarves forward. Select all of the dwarves. And just guns forward. Like, literally, it does not matter. All I need is just point toward enemy before you die. And start shooting. They're very close, which is not actually necessarily the end of the world. Let's see if I catch that in time. No. So, recast. Let's try that again. Let's just net him. Mercurial shot that, please. Okay. Oh, Yep. There was more. Okay, there was more. It got worse. What is that? That's poison wind globadiers. Deal with that. So look, this may be. I would have it be such an end as to be worthy of remembrance. We're not strictly doomed. We're strictly we are actually doomed this time. But I don't think we would have taken this fight even under ideal circumstances. So head in this direction. Head in this direction. Just fight him. Can the engineer kill what's over it? And I think the engineer is better suited to shooting that. Yeah, okay. So the Hellstorms being fatally compromised is the biggest one of... No, there are a lot of issues, actually. Yeah, we can make this grim, but it's gonna be a bit much. All of the Hellstorms are fleeing, everything is engaged. You know what? Just go over there and charge them, please. Okay, we killed that, that's good. Dwarves, please charge the rattling guns. You're extremely dead. Is there any, like, banishment or anything? Just fight the Hell Pit. I think he's running. Yep, oh, he's gone. I wonder if I could have turned around the Hellstorm batteries and charged them. Please charge that. Alright. What is this mess here? You're engaged with Rat Ogres. There's a Doomflayer, the Null Ironsides. You know what? Charge them. They might run away. You come in there. You get there. You get there. You shoot him. You shoot that. I think this is... You're charging them. You're charging dwarves. Good job. You'll make it. I believe. Let's put Flaming Cloak on them. You know what? You can just chase them down forever. You charge into... No, charge the Warp Lightning Cannon. In fact, nuke the Warp Lightning Cannon. And then charge it. Soulfire Bombardment. Yeah, it's just a touch too much. It's just a touch too much. An attempt was made. Oh dear. Please charge. Alright. Our warriors are rallying. Well, you know what? Get to the guns. There's not enough. It's not enough. I don't think we're army lossing our way out of this one this time, boys. Oh, we're trying. Okay, cool. Well, you got that. That's sweet. Charge over there. So, it's slightly too many. I think if this hadn't been an ambush, we might have genuinely had a shot. Like, genuinely we might have. But this is officially a hot mess. And it, like, turns out a Hell Pit abomination in ambush. God, they're making a go of it. Alright, let's just take stock really briefly. Where are you? You know what? You just go over there. Your time in this drama is done. Actually, no, you'll just be wounded. Stuff it. Charge the Warplock Jezzails. Charge the Warplock Jezzails. Yeah, flaming. Give yourself some melee defense. Okay. So if you pull back to there, you keep shooting the Rat Ogres, because the Rat Ogres have got these guns compromised. The Longbeards keep fighting. Oh god, there's Doomflayers in there as well. And he's a warrior priest. He's not beating a warlord. But shoot the Doomflayers. Okay. Is there, like, some weird hope coming from the fact that our batteries are back online? Where's the enemy reinforcements coming? Oh my god. So, if there's going to be any hope, we need to get those guns pointed in that direction. There's not going to be any hope, though, just as a... just in case it wasn't clear. But again, if this would be our end, then we will have it be such an end as to be worthy of remembrance. A lot of people running. There's not realistically any clever spellcasting I can do. We've got to just put down all of this in the center. Our troops have uncovered hidden... Oh, yep. Okay. These are compromised again. I don't think... I mean, it's a good crossfire. It's a good crossfire. They're breaking. You lead him on a song and dance just for a bit. Where's the engineer? Get over there. Keep pursuing them. Do that to them, please. You know what? Nuke yourself. I think that's better. Why did the Hell Pit have to come back online? Alright. Bright Wizard, just escort them off the battlefield, please. There are not many known units remaining. We can get some kills. Like, we can get some kills. Not, like, a lot of kills, but we can get some. Hellstorm, rocket batteries. No, the thing is, I don't think... No, there's no artillery. Oh, no, there are artillery pieces left. Keep shooting. I'd like... If we kill the Warlord, that opens up some options. Terra? You fucking coward. Where are you? Kill the Warlord, please. Keep shooting that. Shoot the Warlord. Shoot the Warlord. And is that army losses? Yeah. Can we just... No. Okay. We did our best. Cheap fire pit on the Hell Pit might have been worthwhile. Yeah, probably. It slows the regen. Okay. Well, we did our best. We killed enough that we might be able to... So those heroes will be wounded. I think if that hadn't been an ambush, but of course you're playing against Skaven, it's the nature of the beast. I put this army in a bad place. I just didn't realize what was coming. I think if that hadn't been Skaven, we might have been in an okay spot there. If it hadn't been an ambush, rather. But it is what it is. Now, this army is replaceable. But replacing them is going to take them a little way from the front lines. But we might have bought enough time in terms of stalling this Skaven bullshit. So, let's take a look. And we'll have a look at the world state. And at that point, we'll have been online for a little while. And look, it could have been worse. The ambush was pretty punishing. It could have been worse. It could have been an ambush on the first attack. I think if we'd been ambushed the first time around, that was it. Because imagine that Ichor Claw army dropping a nuke as the first thing. Now that dwarven allied force that's nearby is not dead, which is good. That's about all that is good. I do not care about that. That's fine. Yep, you've taken Myrmidians back. I only took that last turn. And I don't think there'll be any other massive... Don't think there'll be any other massive engagements this round.
Death is so close. So very.
Oh, please give me peace. Probably not. I can peace out with them. I don't need to wipe out the World Walkers. We'll leave that as an option on the table. So, let's have a look at the state of the campaign. Firstly, Undercity discovered. We have to burn all of those. Undercity discovered. Let's burn that, please. Oh, it's a big one. Clan Moors, Broken Axe. Wounded. Settlement lost. Okay. So, final challenge. At the start or end of your turn, have no factions at war with you. Unusual location in Wolfenburg. Okay, what have we got here? A snowy hamlet. Immune to snow attrition. That's really good. Happy with that. Undercity's destroyed. So, the Empire is under our control. Karl Franz has not yet been confederated. He doesn't really want to. That's fine, because he is like strength rank. We feel he's strength rank 7. I'm strength rank 1. Karazakarak, Ice Court, Goldtooth. So we're in good shape here. Like the Great Forces of Order will count Goldtooth as an honorary member. We've fought through the worst of the crisis, so I'm really just looking to close out this campaign. Which means I realistically don't need to be... I don't need to deal with the Court of Libaris.
What do you want
Or
of
will
the
you pay me?
warrior
So
crew?
we'll consider that. It's a... Yep, we're good. We're friends. You are not long for this world, mate. Reichland does not want to confederate. And we could take peace with a number of factions here. It's well worth considering. I do not need to be at war with anyone here. I am not at war with the Vampire Coast. Lustria is in crap shape, but the big challenge is here. So, Tomb Kings were one of the endgame crisis armies. I confederated Volkmar just as Volkmar himself died, and have been holding Sudenburg for a very long time. We are in a state now where we are just about... We've fought back multiple attacks of triple stacks. We haven't yet been able to push out. So this is like stabilizing this position. We might get one more big army down here. And we can get big armies pretty easily because if we go into global, massive global recruitment camp, because we've got units and buildings that improve that, and things recruit fairly quickly. Hellstorm rocket batteries are the best artillery and they take 2 turns, but everything else we can slam down in 1. Let's just set some research. I think we want... We've got a lot of what we need. It's probably time to start getting some of these things. Where is the Purge of the Fell? That's probably worth getting. This will pay dividends. Let's get an Ambassador Karazak. We've got money for it now.
Is crucial for our elucidation.
So this is one of the major theaters that needs to be overcome to finalize the campaign. The other one is down here, particularly... So Ikka does not have many settlements yet, but it does not matter.
Champion of the
You're alive. That's unexpected. Retreat back to Zvorak. So this is as a bit of a showcase. We'll show how we can reconstitute armies. So we're going to go Allied recruitment, and we're going to get 2 more regiments of Longbeards from Karazakarak. We're going to global recruit And this will all be done in one turn, probably. No, 2 turns, because you're not in a settlement. So we're just going to take things that we can do in 1 turn. But we'll be able to get 3 more regiments of Amethyst Armory Troopers. In fact, let's make that more. Oh, by the way, it is currently impossible to ever complete this. I would love -5 upkeep for a gunnery, but I cannot unfortunately construct 2,500 non-gunnery schools. The Reverend Chris, good to see you. Thank you for jumping on. What we will be able to do is slam in a bunch of these. In fact, we might let's just get even more of them. These are very useful. So we'll get a bunch of Null Ironsides. We can add in 4 of them. They will recruit at a modestly high rank and level up quickly, which means that what we need... Oh, now they're at a 1. I don't know why it does that. Let me guess, are you still... Let's get a cannon. I think is probably, given they're going to be fighting, I want some counter battery. And so all of these will arrive in this army this turn, at the end of this round, and then I'll pull in 4 more Amethyst Ironsides. Ah. Petra truly did not be paying taxes with that empire. Yeah, yep. Now, Elspeth herself is down here,
Elspeth von Draken.
and she is going to come south to start putting an end to these Clan Skya shenanigans.
Preparing rites of exorcism.
We've got some wizards that are coming to join her because I have the building over in Cathay. Alright, so everyone jump in with Elspeth so that she gets the
Aiding the mundane.
Master of Elemental Winds.
Silence! Great treasures, come to me!
Is there another... Where are you? There you go,
Flame
Fire
Orb.
Wizard. Flame Orb.
Powerful move.
So, she
Rider of the
is the
Dragon
juiced up version of this army.
Incarnate.
Tons of wizards, Iron Breakers rather than
The man
Longbeards.
must
I had time to recruit them.
contemplate death.
She will be able to finish off stuff that is happening down here.
Yes, General.
Master engineer.
Similar kind of army. What is the crappiest thing in this army that I can dispense with?
Men look
You
askance
just
at
merge
the
thyself
A shadow of their death.
and get in there. You.
Direct me. Weapon practice.
So,
Need my warp token.
we need to deal with these. In terms of armies that we would like to make peace with, if we go to... So, we can make peace with Sartosa eventually. Yeah, so we cannot make peace with any of the Skaven factions, because they are crisis armies. So we need to finish off Icket Claw, and then over here in Cathay, where we have Confederated Gelt, all of this is Clanesh and Heartland, and we need to deal with that as well.
Do not
I have a
waste
long
my
war
potential.
running with the Dark Elves that I would like to have come to a close, but I need these provinces for money,
Now,
and Gelt needs to push up into here. I don't actually think this is a particularly good army. I made this because Gelt's got skills that benefit these things. This has consistently performed very mediocrely, and I should just slam a whole bunch of Amethyst Armory regiments into this. I haven't, but I should. A big part of why... Are you a Black Ark?
Ill-considered.
Yes, cool, so I don't need to worry about you going after this. A big part of why these are so ridiculously powerful is that in addition to these 3 upgrades, once I confederated Gelt, he also gives me new formulations, which is all armies, more explosive, more explosion radius. I've got all the skills for them. So I've been bailed out of so many fights. Let's do one more battle,
Wind of Shammon,
and I think
I will.
mostly as a I want a pub stomp to feel good about. How many? We've got 6 uses of the Menace below. What's the map look like? Cool. Let's just do this fight, and then that will finish up. Alright. The Death 0706 says, just want to say thanks for your high-quality videos helping me get back into the game. My absolute pleasure, mate. You asked for a Triggerman report, and you got one the next day. I think it was your... So Triggermen were one of my most requested, easily one of my most requested units to feature. They were so bad for such a long time. They're genuinely solid now. I slightly regret that in the game that I played them, they couldn't really be the heroes. And that is a thing that arises. Yes, they're 6'2", but they're on size 4 bases. Size 4 constrains where a model can go, and on a model that's trying to do what a Triggerman does, that can cause some issues. But they are at a point. They are at a point where Triggermen are pretty playable in Tunguska now. The upgrades for Hellfires are just more rockets with exclamation mark. Yeah, it's more rockets, more rockets, more rockets. So, I love democracy. I love the Empire. How do we deploy here? Theoretically, we want to give ourselves the maximum amount of shooting time. And our fire arc is wide enough that there's an argument for something like this. We'll split them apart just a little. Now, you do still have to do the thing where you've got to, in this game, gunfire regiments use true line of sight. I think we need to be up on this hill. I think this is less scuffed for guns. It's still a little scuffed for guns. Alright, and we'll have you there. What's your line of fire like if I put you there? It's medium, it'll do. Now what we're going to do is have Demogryph Knights behind all of these. Because what is 100% going to happen... Why do you not have Pegasi? Is that the bloody... the Skaven are going to summon Menace below, and I do not want to deal with that shit. So we are going to just jump on it with... jump on it immediately. I'm gonna let the Hellstorms free fire, I think. This is a Grey Seer of Plague. Just look at that. This game is the best. Okay, let's get Final Transmutation on you. And then we're gonna get the Wizard forward. And the Wizard is in... Oh, just get done. Get... Okay, now we're due for a Menace below relatively soon. Oh, get absolutely jobbed. I think the first Menace below procs at like 49 seconds. Yep, there it is. Okay, so... Oh, there's going to be some Skaven tunneling up here. Oh, it would be a shame if something was to happen with them. Mr. Pink Panzer says, is there a procedure for making a second request after my channel member? Yeah, just post a comment. You've got a little star next to your name. I write down anything that people request. There are fundamentally limits to how many requests I can action, if that makes sense. But I have absolutely no concerns with you just putting a comment in a video, being like, hey, as a channel member, I'd like to make this request. Like, fill your boots. Totally fine. Alright, now we are going to net down... What are these? Skaven Slave Spears. Don't care. So, pop that net, get out of there. Oh, clan rats in my rear. It's more likely than you'd think. Fucking Demigrift. So, this net's just dropped, which means it is now time. Who is netted? Are you netted? You're netted. You're netted. Didn't catch anyone else, that's fine. Because in very hard, enemies dodge like absolute motherfuckers. They aggressively dodge. Well, that was friendly fire. Immediately. They aggressively dodge artillery. You can deal with that by netting them down so that they can't run. And so we can see these have been absolutely annihilated. What the fuck did that? They might... You did something stupid, I suspect. That would probably have been a friendly fire. Alright, you get back there. The next one is coming there. I don't care about that. Let's get another overcast transmutation on that assassin. Tormentor Sword is the other way, by the by, of doing that. Alright, let's get you in position there. Mercurial shot into them. And we're gonna have... What? One of the... I do really like the mod, Take the Shot, but you will occasionally get friendly fired to hell. We should have army losses kicking in on the enemy relatively soon. Alright. Just fire at will. Fire into anything. Yep, they're done. Rocket batteries. Oh, it's glorious. Alright, where's the... Just spawned an enemy unit. Cool, let's just deal with that. Get him. Yep, got the route. Good. Have the kills, you deserve it. Are we at army losses yet? Not yet. Let's finally transmute a few more things. There we go. Army losses kicked in. Got him. What's his spell intensity? It is only 130, which makes sense. I've only got the 2 wizards. I've got the building, the Cathayan building that that lets you. The engineer thinks he's a 40k commissar. Yeah, that's not cool. Losing 2 of them, but fantasy games. I love Hellblasters. They are only, even with the Nuln Armory upgrades, they're okay. They have a bit of a tendency to over-concentrate fire. Oh, look at that. This is the best game. I don't know how many hours I have in Total War, but... that's just the best. I'm so happy. I don't even know what they're shooting. There's like one Skaven over there. Again, I don't play Warhammer anymore. But I'm keen for Warhammer 40k Total War. That's going to be sick as hell. These are the usual kind of artillery kill counts that you get with this this late game. Yep, 0 kills on the greatswords, totally unsurprising. That's fine. They're not even particularly good in auto resolve. Who cares? 115 kills on Balthazar, but that is the important thing there is he got all of the characters. What's he got? Plus speed, I think. 17 losses, 1800 losses. This is what a lot of the fights, when you're in late game campaign, this is what a lot of the fights look like. Yeah. Alrighty. So, we're rolling in on about 2 hours. I think we've been live for a minute, an hour and 53. I wanted to do a little bit of this. I wanted to get the Zeybek assembled. Getting the Zeybek assembled was good fun. We will probably be wrapping it up pretty close to there, because I do still have to record a video. I've got a Tartary Army Corps versus US Ariadna, Vanilla Ariadna versus US Ariadna battle report to post up, which I do have to record. I've got everything ready for it. I'll do that at the Savo, so that'll go up in a few hours. That doesn't mean I need to go and rest my voice, go and have some lunch, and see how the other half is doing. So, thank you very much everyone who's been along. These are not, generally speaking, I do live stream, but I live stream only intermittently. Hey Death, welcome as a channel regular. Thank you very much. And yes, your name on YouTube you did mention. You're the one that asked about Invincible Army and Triggerman. Invincible Army are tricky, they're antithetical very much to how I play. So they are tricky for me to get good content on. I have to find
I
a
am
local who
supreme
plays them.
patriarch.
I do have a local who plays them, but only intermittently, and he's had some issues with health and stuff that's kept him out of the game. So, as we zoom out, we'll take a look at the state of the world. Cathay is under control. I think I have to wipe out Caravan of Blue Roses, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Ogres have got that. I do not need to win this fight up here, but I might at some point, but I do need to kill the Skaven. I don't think I need to kill the Chaos Dwarves. I think they are not... So it was just... The Chaos Dwarves were an Endgame Crisis faction, but I've taken out Gorth the Cruel. I do not need to deal with Chaos. They're on the back foot in any case. And I don't think I need to go to war with anyone over here. So, the Tomb Kings... Hey, Oxyodal. Why don't you like me? Strategic threat and aversion. Okay. The Tomb Kings are going to be one of the largest challenges. We should have Skaven on the lockdown after the heroic sacrifice of a lot of people. Ludwig Ulriker should actually be fine to carry that fight himself, and if he doesn't, Elspeth will.
Elspeth von
Once this
Drache.
fight is done, I think Elspeth is going to Gardens of Moor, down to Sudenburg,
Of Sigmar's will.
because once she is there, there will be enough force in this spot to annihilate the Tomb Kings. So, we're not going to stream more Total War. I do video game streaming only very occasionally, but I do really love this game. I really love Total Warhammer. It's so good. We should be on track to get that Ultimate Campaign victory, which I've actually never had before. I don't usually play campaigns this late. Usually what you'll find in Total War is that you'll get past the early game hump, and it'll be like, oh, okay, cool. The game is surprisingly good at particularly if you have crises enabled, the game is surprisingly good at presenting challenges after that initial hump. It's very easy to assume that, like, I've confederated the Empire. Nothing can possibly challenge me now. And then you look at, like, how powerful, like, the campaign against the Orcs, against Grimgor. I fought through Azag and seized the Silver Pinnacle. The Silver Pinnacle held off, like, 15 turns of Orc assault with... where is he? Not Balthasar Gelt. Where are you, old mate? Boris Todbringer. Boris Todbringer, who I wounded so that I could re-recruit with the... I reset his skills. Boris Todbringer held the Silver Pinnacle against Grimgor Ironhide for like 15 turns. So the game is actually pretty good at presenting mid and late game challenges, but we are pretty much over the hump now. So we'll wrap that up there. Oh, the death just says, you get to Invincible when you can, that would be great. Can I give you a recommendation on a list that is a good place to start? Okay, so last thing before we close this out is list recommendations for Invincible Army. So there are 2 archetypes for Invincible Army that I can kind of recommend playing, not necessarily power, but playing. You should absolutely play some games if you have the models with the paint train. Put the list together, be like, what is the maximum number of orders I can put through 5 troops, and what are the best 5 troops I can do? You have things like Tacklewear, Shang-Chi. Try and get full link bonuses. Try and really get, like, maximum, so you've got every possible bonus. But build the paint train. That is not what I actually recommend from a competitive perspective. From a competitive perspective, and if you wanted to be like, no, I'm going to try and play good Invincible Army. That is fine, by the way. 5-person paint train in N5. It's got all the weaknesses that it always had, which is that someone drops a repeater, then you've got to kill it. And if you lose a gunfight because there's no mimetism or vismods, like, it's okay. It can blow through enemies, often it won't. However, how you want to build for competition with Invincible Army is actually kind of... It's a dichotomy that is very similar to how Tartary Army Corps and Ariadna are very similar but slightly different. Build a list that is mostly centered around kind of small independent fire teams. You want things like Hideout as the most important linked members. You can have 2 Hideout in a fire team with any other thing, and that'll give duo bonuses. And then Zensha and the cheaper Dao Ying is an option. Basically build a list that looks a lot like vanilla Yu Qing. You should have almost max AVA of Gudan troops with the zappers. And so between Zencha, you can have multiple AVA Zencha. So you have like one Zencha Mine Layer, one Zencha Hacker. Between a Zencha Mine Layer and Gudan, you've got a really deep camo field. You've got some MSV2 ARO/active turn with the Hideout. The Hideout boarding shotgun is fantastic. And then you honestly actually kind of take almost like independent attack elements. I think you can take a Hacktow, and that's worth doing. But build very explicitly, not Pain Train. Build it looking like vanilla Yuching, but taking advantage of some of the AVAs that Invincible Army has. That's kind of the strongest, in my opinion, Invincible Army list. The only issue with it is that it doesn't necessarily really aggressively embrace the fantasy of the Invincible Army, which for a long time has been the big fire team. But if you're willing to put the big fire team aside, you get it's slightly different, right? It's different to vanilla Yuching. It doesn't have Shaolin monks, etc. But you've got Yanhuo. I think you've got Hacktow. You've got linked Hideout, which are excellent, and you've got all of the deep camo field, which gives you a sort of slightly simpler but more robust link team, more robust AVA version of vanilla Yuching. With a few unique profiles, etc., it works very well. So that's my actual recommendation for if you want to kind of perform well with Invincibles. And I think that archetype in Australia has, I don't know if it's won any major events, but it has certainly performed well. Like, that's the kind of list where I think that performed well at CanCon last year. Were we even in N5 then? Question mark. I forget. But it's performed well in like the mid-year events that we had. So that's the actual recommendation. The Reventress says, made it back. And with that, we're going to end the stream. So thank you very much, everyone who's turned up and had a chat. Thank you, everyone who's come and had a look at the Zeybek going together. I need to go and get some food, and then after that I need to do a recording. I'm aiming for a battle report to be up sometime this afternoon or this evening my time. But otherwise, appreciate everyone, and we'll see you next time.